Welcome to the ICU video procast of tonight's men's championship game from the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic basketball tournament at Sheppard High School in Edmonton. Good evening, friends and basketball fans. I'm Kevin Donnan, and I'm proud to bring you the call of tonight's championship games from Edmonton's birthplace of basketball, the T-Bird Gym. This is the nightcap of our Saturday night championship doubleheader tonight with the Edmonton Christian Lions taking on the host Sheppard T-Birds. This is an ICU Video Productions procast. We have Dave Foley, Liam Johnson, and the rookie Odell Nelson on camera. Kevin Kyle is our switcher, and Rob Zitlaw is our executive producer and director. And we are very, very excited to be procasting this game, this championship game, as Sheppard looks to capture their second Totem Hoop Classic championship in a row. And Steve, this is going to be a battle, but right now the pressure is on Sheppard. Edmonton Christian came in with some outstanding performances in this tournament. They are the stated underdogs, but anything can happen in a championship game.
Absolutely. I think anytime you get to a final, you have to have done something right. So, I mean, if you're the Edmonton Christian guys, this is an awesome opportunity for you to start your year right. You go to somebody else's tournament in somebody else's gym, and you want to try and get a statement win to start the year. If you're the Shep guys, it's the same thing, except that you probably have a little bit more pressure on you that it's your tournament, your gym, and you are the would-be favorites. So I'm hoping to see a huge effort from the Edmonton Christian boys with something to prove, and I'd love to see the Shep guys make a statement to start their year as well.
We'll turn things over to our public address announcer for tonight's introductions here in this men's championship game. We'll give you a sense of how things have unfolded here in this tournament. Edmonton Christian won their first game 81-64 over McGrath, and last night, thanks to a strong fourth quarter, Edmonton Christian defeated Foothills 72-65 to earn their place.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Edmonton Christian Lions.
A very scrappy team. Look for number 34, Isaiah Nuwako, and number 5, Hans Beefus. Hans Beefus is the kid to watch. He is the engine of the Lions offense, and he is definitely a player to watch. Number 13, Anton Klock, has had a very strong semifinal. Number 21, Daniel Clement in the low post, as is number 31, Aiden Pease. Aiden Pease has nice touch in the paint. And of course, their big scorer, number 34, Isaiah Nuwako, a player you're familiar with.
I've spent a little bit of time with Isaiah and Anson in the gym. Isaiah's played for the Alberta provincial teams in years past. They're talented kids. They can shoot it. They have a little bit of craftiness with the ball. So these are guys that if you're Shep, you're going to be familiar with one because you've played against them before and shared the court with them on summer teams. These guys are not coming into this as oh wow, we're just so happy to be here. This is going to be a thing where I'm sure all of them are looking at it like, hey, we're in the final, and we're coming out here to compete to win this thing. So I'm anxious to see the effort that the Edmonton Christian boys come forward with, and I got to imagine if you want to win this game, it's got to start from the jump.
T-Birds in their very familiar powder blue, the Edmonton Christian Lions in gold. And of course, the player to watch for the T-Birds, number 6, Grayson Youngs, the grade 12 guard. He was the MVP of this tournament 1 year ago. So Grayson Youngs.
I've known Grayson since he was a baby. I was in 11th grade when he was born. And to see him out here running around playing is awfully special right now. And he can flat out play.
There's a travel on that play right off the jump, so Nuwako will inbound, and this game is underway. The 2018 Totem Hoop Classic Championship game, and the Lions come out firing and come out rebounding. Here's Nuwako down low to Pease, can't handle the ball, and there's Youngs with the steal.
Those got to be those ones that I think Edmonton Christian, like, hey, if we have those gimmies in the lane, you got to catch it. Like you got to catch it.
The game within the game. Watch Beefus and Youngs go head-to-head. And now both teams feeling each other out a little bit here. Here's Beefus now. He's going to drive the baseline and nice and strong, and there's Aiden Pease with the nice soft touch for the big guy.
Aiden Pease, his father Rick Pease was a very good player collegiately. He's been a coach in Edmonton for years, so he's a guy that you want to keep your eye on because he's going to probably be pretty efficient around the basket.
And he and Max Petrick, the big fella for the T-Birds, number 15, will certainly get to know each other. That three won't fall. Petrick grabs the rebound. He's the 6'10" forward, number 15 for the T-Birds. Here's Youngs now.
Max was invited to the Canada basketball national team tryouts last year, and fared well from what we were told. Max has made a ton of strides with his game through his hard work.
Fast break basketball, and Beefus lays it in. And the Lions have a very early 4-point lead. Here's Youngs into the corner for number 3, Ralph Kagay, and he hits from downtown, and the T-Birds are on the board.
They got a mixed up number there. That's actually Steen Gleddy. For some reason, he is wearing somebody else's jersey today, but Steen is a very good shooter. His father was a very good coach, and that's a guy you want to probably keep your eye on today, because if he can get some open looks, he can stick it.
Thank you for the correction, Mr. Sir.
Well,
Steve Sir along with us here on ICU Video. Of course, you know, both of us, it goes without saying, we circled the calendar the first weekend. Well, you're a Shep alumnus, so you pretty much know when this, you probably know when this tournament is happening with your eyes closed. But as an alum, but certainly for us here at ICU Video, it was a date on the calendar that we circled because we enjoy this tournament so much. The hosts here, the T-Birds, what a nice little runner by Nuwako. But the hosts here, the students, the faculty, staff, Dave Youngs, the head coach, the entire athletic department, such a great crew here at Shep. And we're always glad to bring this to our viewers throughout the world, really, on the World Wide Web. And there's the save by the T-Birds. That's number 8, Nick Dutt, but right into the arms of Hans Beefus, and Beefus with the strong run, and the foul on the play.
Hans does a really nice job of
timeout called here,
taking some contact and continuing. One of the things that you'll see with younger players is that's one of the big learning curves, is taking a hit and maintaining your balance, maintaining your ability to continue to attack and penetrate. So he does a nice job of that. I'd also like to nominate him for name of the tournament, Hans Beefus. That's a good name.
Absolutely.
I like that.
And the T-Birds, they got here with a couple of big victories. In their first game, they took down J. Percy Page 103-51, and in the semifinal, they took care of the Leduc Tigers 85-61. So this Ross Shep, I mean, it's an annual tradition, not only this tournament, but it's a tradition that the T-Birds will always be spoken of in terms of not only city championship contention, but provincial championship contention. And Steve, this year is no exception. This is a very strong and capable team, but they've got their rivals. They've got Jasper Place and Harry Ainley waiting for them, and it's always, those three are always talked about in Edmonton.
Well, yeah, I mean, those are the main featured programs in the city. Oftentimes that's where just, you know, the better basketball players are winding up. And then the thing that always is what really makes it happen is you're talking about great coaches. I mean, Dave Youngs is who I played for, and when I was in junior high, that's the guy that I only wanted to play for.
Sure.
So I came across the city to play for him, and a bunch of other guys did too, because we knew just how great a coach he was. Harry Ainley's coached by George Hoyt, who was phenomenal. So, I mean, you're talking about guys that there's not a big secret to why they do well. It's because they coach the heck out of their teams.
Great block by number 31, Aiden Pease of the Lions on the big fella, Max Petrick down the baseline now. And the ball on the sidelines.
Max looks a little jumpy.
Steen Gleddy couldn't handle the, and yeah, there is some nerves here. Of course, the T-Birds would love nothing more than to win their own tournament, as they have so many times, and There's the big block by Max Petrick, number 15, and the T-Birds can't convert. And Nuwako with the steal at the other end. So some great action here early, Steve.
Well, if you saw the last play with what Max did with the block, that's one of those things that is so hard for teams and players to simulate if you're not used to playing against. That's a big shot.
Deep.
6'10" is an awfully hard thing to simulate if you don't have a guy that's 6'10". So
sure.
That's what Max does. And, I mean, this is a good thing to pay attention to with a guy like Hans. If you can shoot it, you know, you're a hard guard. You're a really hard guard.
And it's going to be a long night between these two, Petrick and Pease. It's going to be a real battle down there in the paint. And Hans Beefus picks up his first foul for the reach-in on Petrick. Non-shooting foul, and it'll be inbounded by Nick Dutt, number 8. Here's Grayson Youngs, number 6, the senior guard. And the screen, the foul called on number 15, Max Petrick. And the possession arrow will change, and the Lions will bring the ball up the floor with an 8-point lead here as we approach the midway point of the first quarter. And Nuwako can't convert from the corner. Big steal by Beefus now on the run down into Clement. Another block, but the follow-up by Nuwako. And the Lions convert, but that's Max Petrick's second big block.
It's what guys his size, and the thing that Max does well is he has a good sense of touch for it. So, you know, again, if you're a guy's playing for Edmonton Christian, you got to be a little conscientious of maybe using that, maybe using the shot fake when you get around that rim.
Aiden Pease with the foul, and it's going to be a long night for Mr. Pease with the 6'10" forward from Ross Shepp. You get the big fella leaning on you all night.
Yeah.
Make for a long evening, but Aiden Pease has shown, especially in last night's semifinal, he is willing to do the hard work. And there's a travel called on Mahmoud Mohammed, the 6'2" guard forward from grade 12 for the T-Birds.
The T-Birds look a little bit jumpy when they grab the ball. They're not squaring up facing the rim. They look like they're trying to make 3 plays at once. So you're going to want to see them try and settle into something of make a catch, face up, see what you got before you try and jump into a decision.
Isaiah Nuwako in last night's semifinal, that victorious semifinal over Foothill, 72-65. He got into foul trouble early, but had an outstanding fourth quarter as the Lions rallied to take that game 72-65. The Lions trailed for most of that contest. Here's the battle in the corner, and the T-Birds will maintain possession, but Nuwako in that fourth quarter was absolutely dominant in spite of picking up 3 fouls very early. There's Petrick down low. Can't get it to fall. Last touch by number 21, Daniel Clement of the Lions, grade 12 power forward. And the T-Birds with 21 seconds on the shot clock will inbound. Here's Stian Gleddy.
Let's see what the T-Birds run here. I think you should run that play McGrath ran from earlier.
That worked. That worked
every time.
All night, really.
Yeah.
And we want to congratulate once again the McGrath Pandas for their big victory tonight in the women's championship. And the Pandas are on their way south down the QE2. And as we were saying to their head coach, no one's going to sleep on that bus tonight because that Panda team is in for a fun ride home, and we want to congratulate head coach Brad Caron and the entire McGrath Pandas squad. And Lions will swap out their first players. Checking out are Pease. Checking in are number 6, Ethan Bush. Ethan Bush, the shooting guard. Shooting guard and a forward, really, for the Lions. Good touch and a good drive by Hans Beefus.
He's got a good, he shoots it well enough that you got to be worried about his shot, and he's confident enough off the bounce that you're going to have to make sure that you move your feet on him. So that's a tough move to make, and if you're the Shep guys, you got to be ready to move those feet.
There's a beautiful drive down the lane by the T-Birds. And the T-Birds maybe settling in now, down by 8. It's still so early right now in this first quarter, but I think Ross Shepp came out a little tight early on, but now things are settling down. There's Ethan Bush nearly converting in the rebound by Mahmoud Mohammed. And the T-Birds will press it up the floor. There's Grayson Youngs, number 6. Watch the battle between him and Hans Beefus, the 2 point guards. There's the work down low, and nice low post move by Mohammed. Great work.
That's what's going to be one of the things that's going to help the Shep guys is they're not as much of an ISO team as Edmonton Christian appears to be. There's going to be a lot of off-ball movement, and I can speak to that because that's how Dave Young's coaches. He likes to see screening. He likes to see cutting. He likes to see guys playing for other people. So, you know, if you're going to watch over the course of this game, I make a strong bet for Shep to be a team that's moving the ball and trying to find opportunities that way.
And Shep with a little bit of a size advantage, I would say, and especially in the low post. Hans Beefus caught on the kicked ball there.
I think any team that Max Petrick plays for gives you the immediate size advantage.
Yeah,
he makes up for all the runs on Shep.
Instantly, for sure, but and a tremendous athlete is Petrick. And there's a big block. Number 33, Joseph Gopi. And here's Nuwako, number 34. The 1-2 punch. Here's Beefus and Nuwako right on our near side. These are the 2 big guns for Edmonton Christian. Here's Nuwako now. Down along the baseline, back to the basketball, fade away, won't go, but draws the foul. And you're seeing Isaiah Nuwako's athleticism on display here early.
Yeah, Isaiah's, he's got a unique combination of some things for a local player. He's got some good size so that he can make a play like that where he can go into the block and post you. But he gets out and runs. You've seen a couple times when he's been running on the wing, the Edmonton Christian guys haven't hesitated to give it to him early. So he's also got the ability to put it on the ground. The thing that he needs to be able to do when you watch something like this is if you're a guard that can go into the post a little bit, these free throws have to be your money time. Like, you have to step up and knock these types of things down.
Nuwako misses on both of his attempts. 2:38 to go in the first quarter here in the men's championship game of the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic. Kevin Donnan along with you, with Steve Sir, our analyst, here at the Totem Hoop Classic at Ross Shepp. Edmonton's holiday basketball tradition, and a beautiful drive down the baseline by Grayson Youngs, the MVP of this tournament 1 year ago. And his dad, Dave Youngs, would like to see his son get hot.
Absolutely. I think Gray's got to be a guy that he's going to have to lead the way for this T-Birds team. He can get going, he can shoot it, he can put it down. He's got to be a guy that leads the charge for him.
There's Nuwako, can't get the 3 to fall. Number 12, Musa Malika, has just checked in. There's nice move down the baseline.
Good find.
Here's Youngs from the corner for 3, and hits, and he holds that pose. He knew that was going in from the time he released it, and now we've got a 1-point ball game with 1:40 to go. Both teams have 4 team fouls each, but that just changed.
Grayson's a lot like I was a little guy when Dave Youngs was.
You had a growth spurt at some point,
yes,
though,
at some
Steve.
point. I was some point. But Dave Youngs was a fantastic player for the Golden Bears. I remember my dad used to tell me all about that. And Grayson's awfully similar to him. He can shoot it, he's smart, and he's a great defender. So look for that tonight.
And there's the good work down low by Malika. And, of course, coached by the legend, Don Horwood, and that great Golden Bears program, such a legendary program. And, you know, we talk about it. We don't talk about it enough, Steve, but, you know, get out and support amateur basketball, be it, you know, get over to the Saville Center and take in the Pandas and Golden Bears doubleheaders. Get onto the Metro Athletic website. Go catch some of these tremendous athletes throughout high schools in Edmonton. And you know what? You will be impressed by what you see in terms of their hustle and their commitment. And Edmonton is a hotbed for this sport. And Nuwako can't get it to go, but number 33, Joseph Gopi, cleans it up. And the seesaw battle continues, and a near lay-in there by Malika. Great drive, and here's Beefus, content to slow things down now. Here's Beefus, thinks about driving, looks, drives the lane and can't get it to go. Look for the foul. And there's Bush, number 6. 6 seconds left on the shot clock, and Beefus for 3 as he was falling down. A near 4-point play for the Lions. Got to be impressed by this Edmonton Christian squad coming out the way they have as we close out the first quarter, Steve.
Well, they've come out with some fight. I mean, when we talked before the game, we said that in order for them to give themselves a real good mind frame going forward in the game, that you have to come out with some scrap, and they've done that. They clearly know who their guys are. They get their guys the ball, and they're going to go to them as much as they possibly can. So,
no basket, no. There's a foul on the play on number 11, Sajan Panu, the grade 11 guard, and number 6, Ethan Bush, will go to the line and shoot 2. Stian Gleddy checks in for the T-Birds.
We'll have to get back to what you mentioned before about supporting amateur basketball, because I think the easy thing to point out when you look around is there's not as many people here as you would hope for a game like this.
That's very true. We wanted the gym to be full. I mean, it's a little disappointing, but it's a busy time of year in terms of the holiday season, but like you say, you get out there and support amateur basketball. Of course, there is a new Canadian professional league starting up right away.
Yep.
And we certainly, and Edmonton, I believe, is one of the cities. Saskatoon, which Saskatoon has a tremendous basketball community.
Yep.
And so, you know what? This is the way to build the sport in this country. And in the last 15 years, beautiful 3 by Stian Gleddy. And the timeout call by the Lions. But we're talking, specifically about Canadian basketball. And now Canadian players are all over the NBA. They're going in the first round. They're going, within the first 5 picks of the first round. So Canadian basketball has never been stronger. And for someone like you who's played at the national level, it's got to warm your heart to see this and just the growth of the sport throughout the country.
Agreed. I mean, it's a special time for basketball in the country, which is exactly tying into what we talked about before of why it's important to get out and watch local basketball and support it, because there's some kids that can really play, and there's some guys at university that can really play, and some girls that can really play. And the great thing about that is it only fosters other kids promoting the idea of playing. So if you take a look at some of the highlights, I mean, these are exactly some of the kids we're talking about. Grayson sets up Steen in the corner for a nice shot. These are things that are good fundamental plays from good fundamental players. There's a little bit of D.
There's a great fundamental defense there by Aiden Pease, number 31 of the Lions, and there's a nice little crossover and a beautiful feed and the beautiful block. So this game is living up to the expectations. The Lions lead by 5, but as you mentioned, Steve, we've seen a little bit of everything, and there's the big fella, Max Petrick, showing off some great athleticism for the big guy, the 6'10", the 6'10" power forward. And there's, of course, Mr. Beefus, who is part of that 1-2 punch on the Lions. But what have you seen in this first quarter, Steve, that has impressed you and for both teams?
Well, I think on the Edmonton Christian side, it impresses me that they've come out like we discussed they needed to come out in order to be successful. They came out with a little bit of a chip, it looked like, of we want to win Ross Shepp's tournament.
Sure. So
that's been good, and clearly they know, like I said before, who their guys are, and they're going to make sure that their guys are going to be the ones that carry them, be it Hans, be it Isaiah. On the Shepp side, they were really jittery to start. There were a lot of fumbled balls. There was a lot of quick errant passes because it looked like guys' feet weren't under them when they were going one way. They seem to have settled down a little bit. So I think what we'll look for going forward is Edmonton Christian trying to maintain that swagger, and Shepp, now that they're a little more under control, climbing their way back into the game and playing their style of basketball.
Beautiful touch off the window by Musa Malika, the grade 10 guard. Down there in the paint. Pass looked for Gopi, but it does go off a T-Bird player. And the Lions will maintain possession with 12 on the shot clock here in the opening seconds of this second quarter. There's Beefus here on the near side looking for Gopi in the low post. Can't get it to go. Nuwako tries, and possession will go to the T-Birds as that ball travels outside the baseline. And here we go with the T-Birds.
A little bit of zone, it looks like, from the Edmonton Christian guys.
There's a three-point attempt.
Go to.
Three-point attempt won't go. That's Panu.
That seems a bit quick. One pass over half court into a shot from Shep is a little quick on offense.
And that could be those nerves that you're speaking about.
For sure. I think so. I mean, I think everyone's intention is always to make the best play they can, and usually shooting the ball. That's a big shot from Isaiah.
Beautiful touch by number 34 of the Lions. And these Lions lead by 5 here with a minute and a bit to go, and that falls well short. Ethan Bush with the, will gather it for the Lions. Now Beefus now, crossover. Look for Nwako, he'll ball fake. Tries down low to Bush, tried that backdoor cut down the baseline and just out of his reach, but a nice play by the Lions. Nwako draws the crowd and he tries to distribute, so a good backdoor cut by Bush that nearly worked.
Yeah, I mean, there is some good off-ball movement for the Edmonton Christian guys. I think that pass was a little bit on the wild side, but this is one of those things that you're going to see with younger players is I want to hit a home run as opposed to get on base. So maybe that's a pass that a second earlier would have been there, or you can just swing it and try and get it from a different angle. I think, again, you're still seeing nerves because you're playing in front of your friends, and this is early on in the season. You want to make big plays. So for guys like Max who have
big
4 blocks.
Block. Yeah, Max with another big block, number 15 on Beefus, and Beefus with some beautiful basketball to bring the ball up the floor and nearly drove the lane, but boy, the lights go out in the gym when Petrick stands up.
Yeah, he's a big kid. Really big kid, and I mean, his ability
great
to
athleticism too, for a big guy.
Good touch with his hands, and hopefully he can get some touches in and around the basket.
A beautiful pass by Grayson Youngs down to Petrick, and Dave Youngs loves the sight of that.
Sharing the ball and getting out in the open court. Those are that's good basketball.
Grayson Youngs, who won the MVP award a year ago for his scoring, but he's one of those, that 5-tool player. He can support on defense. He can take a more defensive role, or if he wants to distribute the ball, he really has all the tools.
Grayson, you know, people I think sometimes overlook him as a player because he's got such a quiet demeanor. He's not a big alpha personality, but he's improved. If you were here 2 years ago when Grayson was a 10th grader playing against McGrath, it was hard for him to be on the court in a game like that. And a year later, you're the MVP of the same tournament.
Sure.
So the only way that happens is if you work your butt off. And that's one of the things that I think people miss about Gray because he's not such a dominant personality is this has been important to him, and that's why he's improved. Good. So look for him tonight to assert himself a little bit and show just exactly what I'm talking about. Good
touch by the big fella, Aiden Pease, as he makes both of his free throws. Edmonton Christian up by 5, 27-22. Drive the lane, and that's a big play by number 14, Ben Riley, the rookie guard for the T-Birds.
Really nice job taking the contact and still finishing the play. The thought when you get that whistle is sometimes guys stop, but the great thing is now you got a 3-point play because you just played through some contact.
Great play by Riley. Now checking in for the Lions is Abby Mola, grade 11 guard, number 2. And the Lions have a 2-point lead here with 7:19 to go in the second quarter. I want to thank all of our viewers from literally around the globe for joining us here on the ICU Video Procast of this 2018 Totem Hoop Classic. And there's Petrick's 5th block of the half. He denies number 22.
Nice pass.
Check that, number 21, Daniel Clement, in the big 3. Timeout call by the Lions, and the T-Birds take control. So Max Petrick doing great work on the defensive boards to lift his team right now. Max Petrick is giving his T-Bird teammates a big emotional lift with his work.
Absolutely. I mean, he has to have 5 blocks at least.
At least.
And the thing that impresses me on a play like that at the very end is Max got the block, gathered himself. There was a little bit of pressure, but he didn't rush to make a decision. He found Grayson. Grayson pushed it up again. Same thing. Had a couple early things that he ignored, and then found an open shooter after the offense settled in. So impressive stuff on the offensive transition end. And then as you see right here, Grayson threads it in there for Max, and a good finish with a little bit of pressure.
Beautiful finish by Petrick, and the ability to handle that pass as Young's dialed up the fastball on that one, and Petrick with the nice soft touch. And here's Young's again kicking it over for the big three-pointer. And that's where we stand. 28-27, the T-Birds lead. Kevin Donnan along with Steve Sir here at the Totem Hoop Classic. So glad you're along with us. This ICU video procast. We've been here all 3 days. We want to congratulate Ross Sheppard High School, the students, faculty, staff, the athletic department for putting on just a fantastic show here, as they always do. This is the 26th annual edition of this tournament, and it is Edmonton's holiday tradition in terms of basketball. And here in this beautiful T-Bird gym, I know that this is the second year after the renovations, and you know what? Here we are in year 2, and it never fails to impress. This is such a great facility that this high school, this school fought hard for.
Absolutely, absolutely, and the fight continues. They have all this reno stuff still outside the school, but
you bet.
This is, I mean, what a great venue to start basketball in our city. I mean, you're going to be hard pressed to find a nicer high school facility in Canada, I think, and it's great that it's featured at a tournament that's as long-standing as Totem Hoop.
And Brad Caron, the head coach of the triumphant McGrath women's champions, said, you know, just playing in this environment gave his team a lift.
Absolutely.
You know, like just to be able to come up from Southern Alberta. Nice little runner there by number 14, Ben Riley, the rookie. He's had some strong minutes here in this second quarter. But as we mentioned, that Pandas coach, Brad Caron, said, hey, this team, this environment got his team hyped to play. So kudos to everyone involved in this renovation. And Grayson Youngs looks to the referee. Can't believe he didn't get the foul on that drive. But Edmonton Christian trails by 3. There's down low, and too strong with it was Daniel Clement. And the T-Birds bring it back up the floor. 5.5 to go. There's the 3, and nailed by Sajan Panu. Grade 11 guard for the T-Birds, and T-Birds have their biggest lead of the night, 33-27, as we approach the midway point of the second quarter. There's Clokas for 3. He answers back and holds the pose as he hits from downtown. And the Lions answer back. Seesaw battle is what you'd expect in a preseason tournament. Some of the best in the province going at it, and 2 of the best in our city. The Edmonton Christian Lions and the Ross Sheppard T-Birds. That pass broken up. Nuako now with a battle for the basketball with the big guy Petrick. That was the shot clock for the T-Birds. Here's Beefus now for 3, and it won't go. And he had a wide open look, Steve.
Yeah, that was a good find by Isaiah. He got a look, and I mean, that's a heck of a pass too.
Speaking of a look, that was a look and then a no-look pass converted by Ben Riley. Nice work by the T-Bird guard to convert down low.
That's kind of the era we live in now in basketball. Before, I think in the transition setting, you would have insisted on a guy attacking the rim.
Big block by Grayson Youngs. Big defense right there by the T-Bird leader. And the runner by the big fella. Max Petrick on the break, and the T-Birds now starting to flex their muscles a little bit.
If the reason that's such a great play is a year ago Max wouldn't have thought to do that. 2 years ago Max would have, who knows what would have happened. So I think for a guy like him to have worked as hard as he has, to feel confident enough to dribble that ball up the court and make an attack at the rim, that's outstanding.
4:14 to go here at the Palatial T-Bird Gym. So glad you're along with us here in the men's championship game, and head coach Rob Hefstead going over a couple of things with the referee in terms of changing. And T-Birds, number 3, Gleddy checks in. Number 14, Ben Riley. Got to be impressed by the rookie, number 14, and now the referees will confer here. But strong minutes by Ben Riley.
Absolutely. Gave him that good lift with some good D and that nice attack to the rim for the N1. These are always interesting situations for a young guy because this is your first real high school tournament. And
sure,
regardless if the stands are full or if they're not, there's still a lot of nerves involved, especially if you're playing your first high school tournament at your school. So for him to come out and play with some poise and follow the lead of the older guys is a good sign for the Shep guys.
Shep in this tournament. 3 grade 10 players, Malika, Hawk, and Riley. Obviously, when you to make this T-Bird roster, if you can make this as a grade 10 player, in terms of the, just the internal competition here at Shep, but there appears to be some confusion with the scorers table, so referees are working to sort this out. 4:14 to go. The T-Birds lead by 5 here in the men's title game. Looks like we've got things all sorted out as both coaches took a walk over to the scorers table, and Petrick can't make that one, and Clement will rebound, and over to Clockus, who will bring it up the floor. 4 minutes to go here, second quarter. And there's this big steal. Number 11, Panu, with the lay-in, and a little too strong, won't go. And it goes off number 12, Malika, and a missed opportunity there for Shep.
I think that's those I'm playing in front of my buddy's nerves. Got a little too excited.
You bet.
But great defensive play to even get the look.
Beautiful defense. Here's Nuako, number 34. Great hustle. Always this T-Bird team known for hustle and hard work. Talent is one thing, but you got to put it together. There's Bush, too strong on the three-pointer. Youngs now will run the break. He'll drive, kick it out over into the corner. Beautiful no-look pass, and a big 3 for Steen Gleddy, the 6'4" guard forward in grade 11. What a great no-look pass by Youngs.
Grayson's had a couple moments in the open court where this is what he does well, and he learned this from his dad, is he could have given that ball up earlier and it wouldn't have been a shot. Whereas he kept it, got to the paint, made that defender commit, then there's a shot. So, and those are the kind of things that a guy with Grayson's basketball pedigree understands, is there's timing to all this. Same thing on that play. Exact same thing.
And there it is to Gleddy, and there it is, Youngs drawing the defenders to him, kicking it over, and giving it to his teammates for open looks.
Absolutely.
A couple of big assists here for Youngs, but once again, Youngs, because of his scoring ability, he can draw the defenders, and now the Lions commit the travel, and the T-Birds look to expand their lead. So Young's ability to draw defenders and then kick it out for an open look. Well, Youngs is really putting on a clinic, but he's going to take a seat on the bench and get a well-deserved rest here.
And you can't do that.
And Clement.
I think if you're the Edmonton Christian guys, this is where how they've been playing up to this point is going to get tricky. There has to be more than just ISO stuff. And right now it's been a lot of ISO stuff. So if you're the Shep guys, you're going to figure that out. That's an easy adjustment. So now these are the types of situations, hey, if we're in transition, we got to capitalize.
And Beefus draws the foul. Lions now down by 11 as the T-Birds have kind of quietly taken over with some big plays. But there is no quit in this Lions team. They played great last night against Foothills. Trailed for most of the game, literally for about 3.5 quarters, and then Nuako and Beefus took over in the latter half of the fourth quarter and pulled out that 72-65 victory in the semifinal to get here tonight. but they're in tough against the hosts. Down by 9, and they want to keep it to single digits before the end of the half. 2 minutes to go, and a big three by Panu. And the outside shooting of the T-Birds right now is what's really taking over. It's at the outside touch of some of these T-Birds.
This is what we talked about earlier in the last game with the McGrath team and what the Wild Sisters did so well, is your hands got to be up on D. And then one of the things that if you watch in Edmonton Christian, their hands are sliding down to their side as the possession goes.
Oh, and there's a nice little baby hook by Max Petrick. Back to the basketball, nice turn, good power move, and a nice little baby hook to put the lead at 12. Here's Klokas, kicks it back out to Beefus. Thought about shooting, won't. Here's nice little touch by Joseph Gopi and about a 12-footer there. So Millwood's Lions are a scrappy team.
They are scrappy. When they've had success, the ball's been moving. When they've struggled is when it's been stagnant for too long. So if you're the Lions, especially heading into the half, you got to get that ball moving.
Klokas with the nice steal. Here's Nwako now. He's got to get hot if things are going to happen. There's a bump in the middle of the floor. Panu escapes. Over to Gleddy. Back to Panu for three. Can't get it to fall. Here's Beefus with under 50 seconds to go, and the Lions down by 10. Foul called on Panu on the push there. Loose ball foul, non-shooting foul, and the Lions will inbound from the baseline with 45 seconds to go and down by 10. Not an insurmountable lead, but the Lions would really want to close out this half on a positive note. What do they have to do to send some momentum into the room?
Well, I think they have, one, they got to trim this into single digits. Two, you have to convince some people in this gym right now that you got a little bit of momentum on your side, because I think right now everyone thinks that Shep's in complete control. So
33, Joseph Gopi converts.
They need a stop and they need a bucket. Like, if you go into halftime down 6 with the kind of shots that Shep has hit, you're in good shape. Those are those plays that they're going to have to adjust in the second half, though. You can't let a guy who's hit 3 or 4 threes already shoot that open of a shot at this point in the second quarter.
Full clock here to close out the second half. Nothing but the shot clock for Beefus. 9 seconds to go. He'll drive, kick it out to Klokas. Down the baseline, back out to Beefus. He'll stop, shoot, won't go. 1 second to go. Outlet, and that will not count. And your score from a very entertaining first half, the Ross Shep T-Birds, your hosts here at the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic. They lead here at the half, 46-38 over the Edmonton Christian Lions in a very entertaining first half here at the T-Bird Gym here on the campus of Ross Sheppard High School. And Steve, give us a sense of what you saw in that first half and what we can expect in the second half.
Well, I think at the beginning you saw a lot of jitters from the Shep guys, and by the end of the half you were seeing them settle into a little bit more of what they were comfortable with. A lot of that stemmed from Grayson Young's being able to get the ball, push the tempo, and find guys at the times they needed to get the ball. Max Petrick's play at the rim of changing shots, altering shots, or just flat out blocking them does a big
there we go. That's a great shot by Dave.
Got to learn young.
That's right.
Yep. But I think for the Shep guys, they just settled into what they were comfortable with, whereas the Edmonton Christian guys at the beginning had a little bit more of it, the pace that they wanted. If you look at the highlights when we go back, when Shep started doing well is what they were doing right there with those plays of bringing a defender and finding the guy when that defender had committed fully to the help. Edmonton Christian was the same. When they got guys to fully commit to help and not play in between in the gaps, they were getting good shots. I would look in the second half for Shep to do a lot of the same. They want to get out and run. They're not going to be hesitant to shoot threes. The Edmonton Christian boys are going to for sure have their ISO stuff going on, but there's got to be a little more, I think, than just the ISO ball, because Shep's too well coached for that to beat them.
And do you see more like the Lions trying to, to maybe play a little more half-court basketball, feed it down. Late in that second quarter, feeding things down low to Clement and Gopi seemed to start to work. Do you see, Edmonton Christian maybe, trying to play a little more half-court basketball, slow things down, draw fouls?
Maybe. I think you still need to try and take your transition opportunities when possible. I do think it's a very large reflection of the era we have in basketball now, is your first inclination is when you penetrate is to find the shooter for the three. That being said, when you penetrate, the defense is wise to that too. They're running out to shooters, and a lot of times if post players or bigger guys can slip into the gaps, you can find a good look for a layup or a nice 10 to 12 footer like we saw in the second quarter. If I'm Edmonton Christian, I want to work for the best shot possible that I can find. If that means it's a three, if that means that it's a something happening towards the rim, you want to take that too, because against a team like Shep, when you get good looks, you just have to capitalize on them.
And we are in for a great finish here at the T-Bird Gym, and we will rejoin you in just a few moments' time here with second half action from the men's championship game at the Totem Hoop Classic. The T-Birds lead 46-38. And we'll be back in just a few moments' time with second half action from the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic. The ICU video procast of the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic Men's Championship game from Sheppard High School in Edmonton. Once again, a very warm good evening and happy holidays, everybody. I'm Kevin Donnan, and I'm proud to bring you the call of tonight's championship games from Edmonton's birthplace of basketball, the T-Bird Gym, and I'm joined by Steve Sir, my analyst tonight, and we've been treated to some exciting basketball. The McGrath Pandas earlier tonight in our first game of our championship doubleheader here on ICU Video's Championship Saturday night. The McGrath Pandas defeated the Foothills Falcons. They captured the women's championship with a dominant performance in the championship game just a couple of hours ago. And we've got a good one here as we're about to begin the third quarter with the Sheppard T-Birds, the hosts, looking to capture their second Totem Hoop Classic in a row. They lead by 8 over the Edmonton Christian Lions. And Steve, take us through that first half and how Shep built this 8-point lead.
Well, I think for everyone watching, they saw that Edmonton Christian came out playing the way that they wanted to play in the beginning. T-Birds were a bit jumpy. They were a bit unsure of themselves with the ball. And as the half wore on, you saw a little bit of a shift to the T-Birds playing the way that they wanted to play, a little more purposeful in the transition break, a little more confident on the catch in the half court. And then the Edmonton Christian guys got a little bit shaky with what they were trying to look for in their isolation stuff. That said, though, they made enough plays to still be in it at the end, and I think it'll be interesting to see who starts with what first to establish a feel for what the second half will look like. And
the second half is underway. Hans Beefus kicks it back out to Klaukas. Beefus now back out, top of the key. Looks to drive the lane. He'll stop. 5 seconds to go on the shot clock. Down low to number 31, Aiden Pease, and a nice touch off the glass for the big fella from the Lions. And the Lions cut the lead to 6.
That was the stuff we were talking about over the break, of penetrating and finding something good around the rim, not immediately having your eyes glued to the three-point line. So a good start for Edmonton Christian, getting around that rim and trying to get some chippies.
Bounce pass intended for Nick Dutt. There was a foul on the play. Gleddy now will inbound, non-shooting foul. Kicks it back out to beyond the arc. Here's Gleddy. Ooh. Tries that bounce pass into the paint. Nothing doing. Broken up by Aiden Pease. Here's Beefus now on the transition for Edmonton Christian. And as you mentioned, Steve, just take what you can get, and Pease gets the hoop and the harm. And as you mentioned, the strategy going in, if you're Rob Hofstad, is just take what they give you.
Yeah, I think, again, one of the things that is important to watch for with this is if you're a guy like Pease, finding your spots around the rim for those little dump-offs, being in the right position, and then utilizing the shot fake, because if everybody saw in the first half, Petrick, he blocked 5 or 6 shots. So getting in there, they've been shown to jump right away, use that shot fake, and then finish with some confidence so you can get to the free throw line.
3-point play for Aiden Pease, and that pass broken up by Beefus. Youngs was looking down into the low post for Dutt. Wouldn't go. There's Beefus from the foul line, tries to follow it up. Good hustle by Ethan Bush, and the follow-up by Aiden Pease, and that was all about the hustle of Ethan Bush.
Yep, he made that play for him. If you're Pease, you've gotten 3 buckets in the first minute and a half in the exact same spot.
And there's Beefus. Just about had a seat in your lap there, Steve, as he climbed up all the way up to about the 4th or 5th row and gave some fans a bit of a thrill. Weren't sure if he was going to make his way all the way up into the second tier here, but that speaks to the hustle. There's Youngs, and he gets the near friendly bounce, but the nice follow-up by the rookie Ben Riley, who has really impressed me tonight in terms of his minutes on the floor. Ben Riley taking advantage of his time.
Yeah, he's if you're wanting to talk about young players getting a fair shake, then when you get your fair shake, you better capitalize on it and make it memorable, so that when it comes around again, you get even more touches and even more minutes.
Big shot from downtown has tied this game. A beautiful screen by Pease to set up that step back three. A nice work down low by Gleddy, but it won't go. And we've got a tie ball game 2.5 minutes into this third quarter. Edmonton Christian, much like they did in the first half, they've come out of the dressing room on fire. And right now, Beefus is really dictating the play. Nice drive, and the combination of Pease and Beefus. Pease is going to take a spot on the bench, but not without some congratulations from his teammates who recognize the work he's doing. Ball goes off Grayson Youngs. The Lions will inbound with 13 on the shot clock. Baseline, Nowako looking for Beefus. Distributes. Now Beefus thinks about driving the lane. Going to look again. There's number 33. Gopi won't go, but there's Ethan Bush with the hard work in the paint, the hoop and the harm, and he'll shoot one for the three-point play. And the Lions early in these halves have really dictated the play, Steve.
Yeah, I think this is also a good sign of a team with some resilience, of going in at halftime, not being overly discouraged with it, not finishing the way you exactly wanted it to, and then coming out and, putting some feet to the ground and saying, hey, we're going to try and change the momentum of this game. So give them credit. Majority of what they've done has been in and around the basket to take the lead again. The best thing for Edmonton Christian is to keep sticking with what's working, I think, right now.
Big rebound by Nowako off the miss by Petrick. There's the alley-oop down low, and the Lions will maintain possession as that ball goes off the hands of Ben Riley. Beefus will inbound. Timeout call by Ross Shepp, and if you're Dave Youngs, this is probably a good time to call that timeout, given what the Lions have done coming out, here, what are we, 3 minutes and 10 seconds into this third quarter, and based on the momentum that the Lions have seized, Dave Youngs probably had to call that timeout.
Well, you got to talk about a couple things here. I mean, one, you got to talk about your effort on the glass, because there's been one or two possessions where guys are watching shots as opposed to finding somebody and putting a body on someone to get them out of the paint. The second would be is on offense, you're reverting back to what was going on at the start of the first half, where you're not pushing tempo when you have it, and you're settling for contested jumpers and casual finishes around the rim. So, I mean, Coach Youngs has done this for a long time. He knows how to use his timeouts. And I think when you get into a huddle like this, you want to make sure you remind guys of, like, hey, we got to play our style of basketball. It can't be just playing for the sake of playing. We got to stick to what we've been working on, and we got to stick to what we do well. So I'll be curious to see what they come out with now.
Let me just say, looking through that highlight package, great work by our entire crew, our camera guys, Dave Foley, Liam Johnson in one of the corners, and our Rookie of the Year, Odell Nelson, at the other end of the floor. Great work by our technical crew. As always, here on ICU Video. There's the three from the corner, and Beefus knows he got away with one. He had a little bit of fun coming back down the floor, but great touch by Beefus.
I mean, that's got to be something, if you're thinking from a critical side of it, that for Shepp, a guy runs out to the corner for three, and the defender doesn't contest the shot. I mean, you got to get to a guy like him. That's just got to be what you do.
And the Lions have opened up a 6-point lead now, and Beefus content to slow things down now. Looking, going to drive, kicks it back out to Nowako into the corner here, near side for Bush. Here's Nowako again. He'll kick it back out to Clockus. He'll try three, won't go. Look for the foul on Grayson Youngs, and the T-Birds will run. They'll stop. Here's Gladdy. Look for Petrick. Petrick's beyond the arc. And there's Ben Riley, too strong. Rebound by Beefus. Beefus now, near side. Kick it back out to the top of the key. There's Clockus for the big three-pointer. And, boy, these Lions, you talk about Lions at the gate. Lions coming out of the room. And there's an errant pass rebounded by Bush. And here's Beefus now. Lions on a great run here early in this second half. And the foul called. Foul called on Max Petrick. Klaukus will shoot. No, it was non-shooting foul. Klaukus was looking for the shooting foul, but that foul on Petrick.
This is where the Shep guys have to be alert.
And there's the open look, but blocking foul on Isaiah Nwako, his first of the game. So Nwako, big difference 24 hours makes. Nwako had to sit on the bench for a while last night after getting into foul trouble, and now he commits his first foul here midway through the third quarter. So Rob Hofstad has to be happy about that, and Rob Hofstad has to be happy about the effort being made by these Lions.
Mm-hmm. It's been a great start. This is as good a way as you could have started the quarter if you're Edmonton Christian. You came out aggressive, and now that the key will be not falling into what happened in the first half.
Here's the first fast break by Nwako, can't get it to go. Kicked back out. Ben Riley with the good work down low for the T-Birds to cut this to 57-50. Here's Youngs on the far side. Going to feed it down to Petrick in the paint. And the travel called on the big fella, number 15 of the T-Birds. So Edmonton Christian now, and the T-Birds look to try and keep the Lions on the perimeter here, as they have put Malika on Beefus. Malika with the athleticism and the speed, but there's beautiful distribution of the basketball there by Beefus to Aiden Pease.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're Pease, you got to just keep making sure that you're staying in the right spots to get the catches.
There's Petrick, denied in the paint. Big defensive play by the Lions. Great pass down low, and it will not count. Basket will not count. Push on number 13. That's Anton Klaukus. That is his third personal foul. So Klaukus now only 2 fouls to give away. It was a non-shooting foul. Number 14, Ben Riley, checks out. And they'll kick things back out to Malika, number 12. Top of the key. Screen set by Petrick, gets the return. Bit of a wild shot, and he is fouled by number 31, Aiden Pease, on the block. And Petrick will shoot 2. Both the Lions and T-Birds have 4 team fouls. So they each have 1 foul to give. 3:56 to go here in the third quarter. And Steve, probably the understatement of the year, but wow, we've got a good one going here.
Yeah, you know, Edmonton Christian came out really swinging from the jump, and that's how they built their 9-point lead. If you're Shep now, you got to show a little bit of toughness and a little bit of grit and respond to this, because so far everything on offense for Shep in this third quarter has been very labored, and nothing has come in the flow. So something's got to give these Shep guys a spark to get back on track the way that they found their rhythm in the first half.
Lions with a near double-digit lead, and you know, Steve, maybe we gave the Lions some blackboard material by suggesting that they were the underdog here, and they're really controlling things in a big, the catalyst here is Hans Beefus, but there's a big steal with one of Beefus's rare mistakes on the night. There's Malika with the drive, won't go. Picked up by Mola, and now the T-Birds with a little bit of a mini press, and they back away. Nwako looked like he was going to set a screen. There's Mola, far side. Going to drive baseline, kicks it out to Gopi. And the foul called. Push on Musa Malika, the grade 10 guard. And Gopi will now shoot 2 as he is in the, as the Lions are now in the bonus here with a 9-point lead, 3:16 to go in the third quarter. ICU Video proud to present this 2018 Totem Hoop Classic, the 26th edition. Ross Sheppard has won their own tournament, and this is only since 2005. I looked this up earlier today. Shep has won their own tournament 8 times. So, and I know you've been a part of some of those victories and some big victories in the T-Bird gym, and a big move and a nice scoring play down in the paint in relatively unfamiliar territory for Grayson Youngs. Here's Beefus now. Baseline to Gopi, can't get it to go from 15 feet. There's Mola over to Beefus, fresh clock now, 20 to go on the shot clock as the Lions gather their own rebound. Beefus now near side, looking to drive, no, gonna shoot, gonna try for 3 and nails it down, and pretty good poise for the youngster with the defender right in his face.
Yeah, that's a big shot. I mean, to be patient like that and hunt your shot out is a pretty great trait to see in a high school kid. That is one of those shots, though, that if you're Beefus, you got to have confidence to take it. You got to trust that it's the right shot.
Lions call the timeout. Max Petrick with the nice low post move back to the basket. And the T-Birds have cut this lead to 8, 62-54. But we're now going to see, can the T-Birds mount the comeback, much like they did in the first half? This is where the T-Birds, where the Lions kind of hit a lull there in that right about this time in that first half. And what is Rob Hofstad, what is he telling his team right now? And more importantly, while we've got the camera on the T-Bird huddle, what is Dave Youngs talking about?
I think Dave Youngs is probably talking about, I mean, if he had the access to the video that we do right now, just to look at it slowly, is you guys got to get organized better. They're running back, but they're not running back with a purpose. They're not running back and finding guys. So the good thing that Edmonton Christian has done, you got to give them credit, is they've come down and found their guys and found their shots, whereas the Shep guys have kind of come down to the paint and then slowly drifted out of it. You got to see more of this from the Shep guys. You got to see more of it going towards the rim right now, because Edmonton Christian is contesting a lot of those threes they're taking. They're clogging up the lane. They're making the court seem small for Shep. Like there's not a lot of room to operate. So if I'm Ross Shep, I got to get, like I had with Grayson getting a layup. I had Max getting a little bit of a turnaround. I got to get more of those to start freeing our rhythm up so that we feel good about seeing the ball go through the basket.
And with Isaiah Nwako's ability to draw defenders, that's opened things up in the low post for Aiden Pease and for Gopi as we see him try to follow up. But Nwako, has got to get involved at some point. Here's Youngs now into the paint, follows up his own shot and rebound, can't get it to fall. Here's Beefus now. So Nwako's ability to draw defenders is really helping the Lions in the low post in getting the ball down to Gopi and Clement and Pease. Here's Beefus now driving. Nwako now fade away down the baseline, can't get it to go.
If you're Shep, that's a shot that you're quite happy to live with. I mean, Edmonton Christian, if they're not going to get a good open look, then you got to stay aggressive attacking the basket. So if I'm Isaiah, maybe a couple more dribbles.
Sajan Panu called on the charge. Isaiah Nwako with the block after the whistle, but the charge called on Panu, and the Lions still up by 8 here. Final minute of the third quarter, and Nwako misjudges who touched the ball last, and the T-Birds. Long outlet. Here's Youngs now. Over to the side for Panu. He's got a good touch from beyond the arc, but that one won't go. There's Gopi with the rebound and the defensive board. Here's Hans Beefus now. Team Alberta representative. He's played on some of the provincial teams. He tries to drive the lane but won't go. And Petrick will hand things off to Malika. Malika thought about driving the lane, does. Steal by Mola. Now there's Beefus, and here's Nwako going to drive the lane on Youngs, and the nice lay-in. Good touch by Nwako.
Absolutely. That was a really, because you could see Grayson kind of lining it up to look to try and make a play on the ball, and Isaiah really controlled his body well.
What a great play by Youngs to keep that ball in. 8-second differential on the shot clock here in the final seconds of the third quarter. Beef is content to let the clock wind down. 7-second differential, 18 to go in the quarter, 8 on the clock. Here's Beefus now. Going to stop, drive the lane, and gets the little runner. And Hans Beefus has been the player of the game through 3 quarters.
No, you know what I would say, the reason that Edmonton Christian has put themselves in a position like they have has been driven right behind Beefus's ability to get to the rim and make plays. So I mean, this is the oldest thing in basketball is players make plays. And if you're Shep right now, nobody's making any plays.
And we got a great contingent of fans and supporters from Edmonton Christian just below us, and boy, they've got upset. They've got the upset on their minds here. Up by 12, heading into the fourth quarter, and I have to admit, Steve, very surprised considering the momentum that the T-Birds had going into this second half. You know, towards the end of the first half, it looked like the T-Birds were ready to really, put their foot on the throttle and run away with this thing.
Yeah.
But the Lions have come out of the dressing room and literally just dictated the play in that third quarter. Mm-hmm. How do they close this thing up?
Well, if you're the Edmonton Christian guys, one of the things you have to make sure you're talking about is, guys, one, more of the same in the fourth quarter, for sure. But the second part is we can't fall into that trap that we fell into in the first half where we got away from what was making us successful. So if I'm Edmonton Christian, our one-on-one stuff, our getting out in transition is working, so we got to stick with it. Really, though, what's making them progress forward towards a win is how they're defending. They're making it really tough for Shep to get those good looks that they were getting in the first half. If you're Shep, somebody's got to step up if you're on that team and say, like, man, I got to make some plays.
You played for Dave Youngs, down by 12 going into the fourth quarter. What are the types of things you used to hear from Dave Youngs?
Steve, shoot the ball. No, it would be, that was some of it. It would.
Steve, make some plays and make your shots.
Well, we were extremely fortunate to have a lot of good players on our team. So what we did was we trusted in what our preparation was, and
Sure.
We were a team that practiced very hard. So, yeah, there was me shooting. There was Jermaine Buckner making plays around the basket. One of the guys who's assistant coaching with Dave this year, his name's Mustafa Seaton. He made a ton of plays around the basket. So what we did was players made plays. And, I mean, that sounds overly simplistic, but someone on Ross Shep has to step up and say, hey, I'm going to be a basketball player and get some things done.
And the T-Bird gym has come alive. This crowd into it. Edmonton Christian against Ross Shep. 9:45 to go. The Lions up by 12, looking to pull off a big upset here in this preseason tournament, the Totem Hoop Classic. The Lions now, and the step on the baseline. The basket will not count. 9.5 to go, but the Lions here looking to pull off a major upset here. And that would reverb around the city a little bit if the Lions took down the T-Birds in their own tournament. Here is number 4, Rang Lual, the 6'1" guard in grade 11, who's seeing his first action of the championship game.
And that's what you need to do is you got to come in here and make an impact with some play.
Get a spark.
Yeah, something has to be sparking the T-Birds guys to fight a little bit here. One of the things that you've noticed is I don't think Max has blocked a shot in this second half. So that's going to be something too. Like those are the kind of plays, though, that you don't need. Those are home run plays as opposed to, hey, let me get on base. Let me come down and get a bucket or get a foul. I don't need to try and get something crazy to get the crowd into it. Not yet anyway.
Sometimes the simplest play is all you need, whether it's, like you say, if it's in baseball, it's a base hit. Maybe it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust in football.
Absolutely right.
But stick to the fundamentals, and Nuwako gets caught with the extra step. So Grayson Youngs is a veteran player, as you mentioned, the pedigree, and he's got to calm this team down as one of the leaders on this T-Bird team. Down by 10, 8.5 to go. Ben Riley There's the foul on Nuwako, non-shooting foul, and Lawal, number 4, check that, number 14. Ben Riley will inbound for the T-Birds. 14 left on the shot clock. Ross Shepp down by 10, their own tournament. Ball goes off the official. Official helped keep that one in bounds, so. And there's Youngs for 3, it won't fall. Good rebound by Clement, number 21. And he'll dish to Hans Beefus, who is certainly going to rate some MVP talk for this tournament for the Lions. There's a pass break up by Petrick and a steal. Here's Young's going to run the floor. Won't go too strong. Defensive rebound by number 34. Here's Gopi, number 33. Tries the fadeaway, but is caught on the travel. So both teams right now, the adrenaline is kind of taking over, and a little bit of, there's some plays a little scrambly right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit on the hectic side, but I think everyone's trying to, not everyone, but you could say that a lot of guys are trying to score 6 points in one possession. So, I mean, I think you have to just remember, one, if you're Rush Shepp, it's 2 points to 3. Same with Edmonton Christian. You're not putting the game away with one possession. So stick to what has been working, or if you're Shepp, someone's got to step up.
Checking in for the Lions now, Ethan Bush, number 6, and Aiden Pease, number 31. They were huge in the first half for Edmonton Christian, especially Pease on the low post. He tries the little half hook that won't fall, and Rob Hofstad is calling on Aiden Pease to be a little more patient with the basketball here. 7 minutes to go. Open 3 from the corner won't go. Rebound by Bush, number 6, who made a couple of big plays for the Lions late in the second quarter.
Yep.
Here's Beefus, number 5 now. Looking. 10 on the shot clock. Bush on the far side. Going to pivot, look down into the low post. Look down into the paint, and Pease wouldn't go, and Beefus doesn't like that call. Non-shooting, his second, and the inbound. Number 12, Malika checks out. Gleddy back in, and a timeout called by Edmonton Christian as they lead this game by 10. 66-56, and what an entertaining contest here in the men's championship game. It's been a fantastic tournament, Steve, as we've talked about. Want to offer our congratulations to the entire Ross Shepp team here for putting on such a fabulous show at the Totem Hoop Classic here in its 26th year. And you know what? The basketball, I mean, every year we can say it keeps getting better and better, but that is absolutely true. The spirit of this school is alive and well, and this is such a great event.
It is a great event. I mean, it always acts as the kickoff to the high school season. I know tonight there is a high school showcase across town at Saville Center that the Bears put on. So these are great ways for people to really get in the mood for basketball. I mean, regardless of whatever else is happening around, snow's on the ground, which means it's basketball season.
You bet.
And the start of the basketball season, it's great having Ross Shepp and the Totem Hoop act as the jump-off for another high school season in Edmonton.
And, of course, the JP tournament is coming up, the high school showcase across town at the Saville Center. You know Harry Ainley is paying attention to this game and vice versa.
Absolutely.
T-Birds want to know what's going on with the Titans because it's one of the greatest rivalries in sports in this city. And the layup underneath, but Lawal desperately trying to regain control of the basketball, and no luck for the T-Bird guard. In grade 11, Lawal seeing his first action of the championship game, and he's already made an impact with his energy and work on the defensive side of the ball. Lawal has definitely given these T-Birds a spark. Good kick out by Youngs. Open 3 won't go for Gleddy.
Then those got to be the ones that you get. I mean,
Clockus now tries down low. There's Nuwako, and Nuwako called for a travel. And he's looking around wondering, did I take that extra step? 6 minutes to go.
definitely looked like it.
10-point deficit here for the Lions. T-Birds now approaching the midway point of this fourth quarter. Only down by 10. These T-Birds can score in bunches, as they've proven in this tournament. And Grayson Youngs has gone cold in terms of shooting a little bit here as we reach the midway point of the fourth quarter. Here's Ethan Bush. Can't connect. Here's Pease down low. Nice little try on the baby hook, but the rebound by Max Petrick, and the pass intended for Lowell is out of his reach, and the T-Birds showing a little bit of frustration right now.
Yeah, you know, these are the mistakes that they weren't making when they were playing well. And this is what's interesting about these guys, is they're still high school kids. There's still so much about this game that they have to learn and they got to figure out. And, you know, I mean, part of it is really just, I got to go back to what works for me, and they haven't been able to find that rhythm in this second half.
Speaking of a rhythm, number 13, Anton Klockus, the grade 12 forward, hits from downtown as we reach the midway point, and a 13-point lead for the Edmonton Christian Lions. Can they pull off the upset here in the Totem Hoop Classic? Good move down low by Petrick, but the T-Birds cannot convert down low. Not a lot of luck around the rim here in this fourth quarter, and the Lions are trying to close out what would be one of the biggest victories of their year, and a great way to start their season. And there's a hold on Isaiah Nwako with his third personal foul, so Rob Hofstad has to keep that in mind.
I think they just gave a technical to him.
And that is a technical foul on number 31, Aiden Pease. That is his fourth foul, so that is a big T for the Lions. And Aiden Pease now does not have a foul to give. One more foul, and he is out of this game. So a bit of an undisciplined foul there by the Lions. Of course, the adrenaline gets flowing. You're up by 12 points. And Aiden Pease lost a little bit of composure, but these things happen from time to time. So
I think now you got to see how free throws could potentially play a role in this now, because the next foul for Edmonton Christian is bonus. And if you're Edmonton Christian, that's 3 points and the ball back to Shep. So if you're Shep, you could really have a nice swing here.
This could be a really big swing in momentum.
And
you
if
bet.
you're Edmonton Christian, you got to be cautious now, because these are the kind of things that get guys focused on everything but the good stuff you've already been doing. So these guys got to be cautious about what happens next.
Grayson Youngs with some energy, and the possession arrow changes for the Lions, but as you mentioned, that kind of foul can really change the momentum, and now the Lions are going to try and use this clock and look for open looks. But Rob Hofstad wants his offense to run the clock, but now the T-Birds are going to run the floor, and that's number 12, Musa Malika, the grade 10 guard, giving the T-Birds a spark. And Ross Shep only down by 8, 4 minutes to go. Don't move a muscle, stay with us. Right here, the ICU Video Procast, the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic. Can the Lions pull off the upset? Can the T-Birds bring it all the way back? 3 minutes and 53 seconds to go. Stay with us, we'll find right out here. There's Beefus making that strong case for MVP. He tries the left hand lay in, it won't go. Non-shooting foul, he'll inbound. 3:53 to go. The Lions up by 8.
Let's see if Edmonton Christian goes with a play that's worked a couple times for him, of where Pease would step out,
Pease down low,
catch,
you bet.
but then they're going to swing it to the wing, and the inbounder will actually be the one to get the shot. So let's see if Shep's aware of that, or if Edmonton Christian's going to run something a little bit different. Looks like they ran something different.
Watch the battle between Pease and Petrick down low. These two Warriors will play a big part in these final 3 minutes here. Speaking of threes, Beefus tries one with the shot clock winding down, and the T-Birds will break. There's Ben Riley down low. converting the pass from Gleddy. And the T-Birds have cut the Lions' lead to 6. 3:20 to go. Beefus now doubling him. T-Birds decide to double. Clockus looks to drive, steps back, kicks it back out to Beefus. Near steal. Here's Beefus over to Bush for 3, and it won't go. The big rainbow. Good rebound by Gopi, number 33. Kicks it out to Beefus. Thinks about the shot, doesn't. Looks baseline, turns, spins. There's Gopi. Nearly off the window. Battle for the basketball. Fresh clock for the Lions. Good rebound by Pease. In the corner for Bush for 3 and hits it. Ethan Bush with the big 3-point shot. And the Lions back up by 9 with 2.5 to go. Clutch shot by Ethan Bush on the open 3.
And those are those winning plays that teams have to make, where you give up 2 offensive rebounds that results in a 3 being shot.
Oh, and a big foul there by Clockus. That'll be his 4th on Gleddy. Clockus just about put Gleddy into about the second row there. No sell on that one.
No, he got hit pretty good.
Yeah, Vladi Divac would probably still be on the floor, but
I think Vladi Divac would have wound up here with us.
I was going to say Vladi Divac would have been on about 107th Avenue.
Yeah, he would have been right out of the gym with that one. Yeah.
He'd still be moving. He'd still be backpedaling.
Oh, yeah.
He'd still be going.
They'd have the people looking for a body. Yeah. Now
Vladi, if you're here, if you're somewhere out there in the world, and you're by the minute chance you're watching us here, we still love you.
Yep.
Absolutely. And the referees are over at the scorer's table, 2:19. Both coaches keenly interested in what's happening over there here in this 8-point game. We're so glad you're along with us here on Championship Saturday night on ICU Video and the procast of the 26th Annual Totem Hoop Classic. Don't move a muscle. Kevin Donnan along with Steve Sir as the T-Birds look to complete this comeback, but boy, they're in tough. This scrappy Lions team up by 8. 2 minutes to go here in the championship game. Going to double up on Beefus. Look to Bush for 3, and he a little too strong. Clockus with a great play to save the ball, but it pinballs its way up just out in front of the Lions bench.
For everybody watching, Shep's running an extra defender at Beefus now to try and get the ball out of his hands. I think
Young's with the wild 3 that won't go.
I think where it's going to be interesting to see what they want to do down the stretch, because really you see Edmonton Christian wants the play to start and probably finish with the ball in Beefus's hands. If you're Shep, that's the right idea to scramble. But at the same time, though, you've got to recover out of that scramble and find a guy, because Edmonton Christian's getting a shot up and Shep is struggling to find out who they're boxing out.
And Steen Gleddy has fouled out of this game for Ross Shep. Clockus has 4. And the block called, looks like it's called on Daniel Clement there, the blocking foul. Loose ball foul on the inbound, and Grayson Young showing a little bit of that frustration that the T-Birds are going through right now. They've got a tall order here. 1:45 to go. They've got to make up 8 points. Here's Riley for 3. The southpaw won't go. Rebound by Clockus, and once again, here they are. They're going to double up on Beefus. That's going to leave the open man, Clockus, who will kick things back out. And Beefus now looking to milk the clock. What a great play. Clockus now down the baseline. Clockus, hard to tell if he was going to pass that ball or just lost the handle. Riley, number 14, with a great play in the paint, and the left-hander. Just 6 points now. 1:15 to go here in the championship game of the men's draw. What a great finish we're in store for here as Beefus tries to.
Yep,
and a good foul. Clockus with a good foul there. Clockus will foul out of this game. That is his 5th as he prevents Panu, but it is T-Birds are in the bonus.
That's going to be a clear path foul, where since there was no other player in front of the play and he stopped the ball, they're going to give them free throws, and they're going to give them the ball back. So that's almost one of those ones where you're trying to make a play on the ball and you're trying to do
almost
the right
a good
thing.
play, like you say, but with that rule, that clear path rule.
Yep.
a tough one, but you're caught up in the moment.
Yep.
And like you say, that clear path rule. So Panu now.
And you want to think about, like, you're trying to stop the ball and do the right play. And the fact of the matter is, basketball did the right thing addressing that, because in the past you were seeing too many teams put the ball on the sideline when, if no one touched them, I got a wide open
Sure.
layup.
Well, now here we go. Here in the closing moments of this game, there's Ethan Bush, who had an outstanding game. Now, if you are Rob Hofstede, with this, you've got T-Birds have called the timeout. Here we go through some of the highlights here of just a fantastic game. There's that spark we were talking about from Reng Lawal. And there's Klaukas, who's fouled out of this game, but he hit that big three from here on the near side. But if you're Rob Hofstede and you're the head coach of the Lions, you're up by 4. You've played an outstanding second half. How do you close this out if you're Rob Hofstede?
I think it's got to be your defense. You got to now, all right, the last play didn't go the way that you wanted. There's a lot of reasons that you can focus on what's been wrong in the last couple possessions, as opposed to, hey, we're still winning the game, and that should still be our prerogative. So if I'm Edmonton Christian, I want to make sure that guys on this possession, we make them work for something and we limit them to one shot.
You need that McGrath Panda defense is what you need.
They need to see if the Wild Sisters are still in town.
Yeah, exactly. Wild Sisters from McGrath on their way home after celebrating their women's championship, and we are going to decide the men's championship here in the final 105. The gym is into it. We're into it. Let's close this one out, the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic, and we've got a classic here at the T-Bird Gym. Here's Grayson Youngs on the drive, can't get it to go. Battle for the basketball, and the foul on Max Petrick. Lions will inbound, 54 to go, up 4. Beefus now.
I don't think Shep knew exactly who had the basketball there. Oh, boy.
Oh, there was a near cardinal error and a travel called on Raiden Talons, the grade 12 guard. 51.3 seconds to go, and the T-Birds have possession and will inbound down by 4. What a finish here at the T-Bird Gym. The Totem Hoop Classic. Here's Panu now. He's hit a couple of big threes tonight. He'll drive the lane into the corner. That's Malika. Kick it back out to Youngs. Youngs will go right down the lane. Can't get it to fall. Rebound by Ethan Bush. Battle for the basketball. And a foul called on the T-Birds. 36 seconds to go. 4-point game here. Can the Lions pull off an upset? T-Birds trying to repeat as Totem Hoop Classic champions and are trying to avoid an upset like they suffered in 2016 against McGrath. There's a big steal by Riley. Back to Beefus now, and he'll get fouled by Grayson Youngs with 25 seconds to go. And let's take a look at this replay as the sequence as the basketball bounced around a little bit, ping-ponged around. Ben Riley near with a big steal here.
They just called an intentional. That's real, and this is one of the difficult things now at the end of games, is so
Grayson
much
Young called on that intentional foul.
Everybody knows that at the end of the game, the defense, if they're losing, is going to try and stop the clock. The unfortunate thing is when the referee calls an intentional, you're really talking about ending the game.
Beefus hits one of the two, and that's big because now the Lions are up by 6 and they have possession. So an undisciplined foul there by Youngs, and it's tough. I mean, the T-Birds have nearly brought this all the way back. There's still lots of time left, but some frustration here for Ross Shepp. And the possession arrow will change as the ball goes off Beefus here on the near side. 23.7 seconds left. So the T-Birds have a full clock. And here's Malika now. 20 seconds to go. Panu fires up a 3. Won't go. Here's Beefus now with the rebound, and he is fouled by Youngs in the paint.
I don't know if you're Shep if you needed that. I know that the pressure's on you to make up 5 points in 25 seconds, but at the same time, though, attacking the rim when they're in bonus is
and the chant of MVP starts up from the Lions faithful here for Beefus, who's had an outstanding night.
He has, but if I'm the Lions faithful, I also want him to make the free throws. So
that's right.
Maybe let's just hold off for a sec.
Just make the shots, kid, before we call the engraver.
Yeah, before we do.
And a timeout here by the T-Birds. Hey, it's basketball. Anything can happen. 16 seconds left to go here.
Yep.
And, Steve, we've really been treated here to a couple of outstanding games. I mean, the women's championship was a bit of a lopsided affair, very competitive in the first half. The McGrath Pandas took over in that second half, but we saw some great things in that game, and here we are seeing some highlights courtesy of our ICU video crew, and this has been a fantastic championship game, and it's lived up to the billing.
Well, you're seeing in the clips here, Shep getting some easy stuff out of transition, and really when you think back on the second half, they just didn't get enough of that. If you're looking at the possession right here, yeah, that's really what swung it, because if they hadn't hit that shot, Shep would have been primed, I think, to maybe close the gap or maybe even get a lead. So when you're looking at the flow of how this game went, Edmonton Christian made shots when they had to. Now the game's not over, but at the same time, if you're Shep, it really just came down to you just didn't hit shots when you needed to.
What do you do off the inbound if you're Shep?
Well, I think now you're probably forced to have to go for a three. You don't have enough time to get a two and trade free throws. I think you probably have to try and get something quick. If it was me, I would probably draw it up for Grayson.
And get the ball into Grayson's hands. Yeah. He's your best outside shooter.
I'd say so, and you want to try and say, hey, guys, we need a basket in less than probably 3 seconds. So you got to get something quick.
And Grayson Youngs has that quick release. He's spotted right in the corner right now. And there's Talon's number 11. And the Lions know enough to watch Grayson Youngs. Here we go. 14 on the shot
and
clock.
He forgot the play. That's too bad.
And there's Panu here for three. Open over top of Gopi. There's the follow-up by Riley, and he draws the foul with 9 seconds to go. So good work down low by Aiden Pease. That is his 5th foul of the game. We believe that is his 5th foul of the game. He fouls out, but what a performance by Aiden Pease here tonight, number 31.
He's a big part of that second half. I mean, when you think of the plays that got Edmonton Christian back in the game and believing that they were going to have a real chance to win it, he had 6 or 8 points right away, right around the basket by just being in the right spots. So, I mean, he was a big part of this half.
And he did a lot of great work without the basketball.
Absolutely.
As defenders were drawn to Beefus and Nowako. Pease was down there, down low, ready for the open and easy shot. So, Ben Riley, the grade 10 guard, gets the T-Bird bounce with 10.3 to go, down 5. Makes his second now. And a 4-point deficit. And the Edmonton Christian Lions call the timeout, up by 4. And what a treat here tonight, Steve. It's always a pleasure to get to call the games with you. And like we had said earlier in the broadcast, if this doesn't sell you on Edmonton basketball, these two teams battling it out here in the preseason, nothing will. So get out there, fans. Get out there, and no matter where you live. I mean, we talked to Grandma O'Brien in Ireland. We've had contact with people from the United States, all over Canada. Get out there and support amateur basketball because, it doesn't get any better than this. We've got a 4-point game in a great tournament, the 26th annual Totem Hoop Classic, and we're so proud to bring this to you and to bring this to you every year, this holiday tradition in Edmonton at the birthplace of basketball. And there it is, the Totem Hoop Classic trophy. We get ready to hand out some hardware and some MVPs and some game awards right after the contest. And we'll have a chat with the winning coach and the winning team. And the Edmonton Christian Lions, their fans right below us, boy, they can sense it. They've got an upset here. Lions, of course, both of these teams will be got to be considered for contention for provincial titles and city championships. And there's a jump ball. 2 seconds of possession taken off the clock. Referees will determine where possession will go. Lions, Gopi and Beefus trying to make a case here now. We'll bring in the third official. Critical call here. 4 points to go. 4 point differential. 8.2 on the game clock. 8.2 seconds to go here. And possession will go to the Lions. 8.2 seconds to go. Edmonton Christian up by 4. Here's Beefus now. Over to Talons. And a near steal by the T-Birds. And the foul called on Grayson Youngs with 3.5 seconds to go. Young's 4th personal. T-Birds, Lions in the bonus, and Talons, number 11, will shoot 2. Up by 4. Both teams out of timeouts. 3.5 seconds to go. Talons can finish this right here. Won't go. I mean, if you're the T-Birds, you're down to miracles now.
You got to get this rebound, though.
You got to get the rebound if you want to have any hope and make the big play. There's Talons, and Talons misses. 3.5 seconds to go. So the T-Birds need a miracle here. They need a
they need a 3.
And
with that ball, not even. Yeah, this isn't going to be it.
Here we go. Here's Ben Riley for 3 to close it out, and that is it. The Edmonton Christian Lions have pulled off a major upset here at the Totem Hoop Classic with a 74-70 victory over the host, Sheppard T-Birds. And what a performance. The T-Birds owned the second quarter, but you've got to give it to Rob Hofstede and the entire Lions team, Steve, for an outstanding performance here in the second half. And make no mistake about it, this is a huge victory for the Lions and a big upset.
Well, if you're the Lions, again, like we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, this is what you came into this game playing to do, is to win the tournament, to beat Sheppard, to win the Totem Hoop. So if you're these guys, I think you're thrilled at how this went, because you really dictated the pace of the second half from start to finish. If I'm Sheppard,
you're going to learn a lot from this one.
You'd better learn a lot from this, because, I mean, this is going to be one of those games you're going to look back on and say, guys, like, if guys aren't getting in the gym to get their extra shots, if guys aren't really listening to Coach when he talks about valuing the basketball, then all you got to do is throw this tape in. I mean, Edmonton Christian beat them, but at the same time, though, Shep has to they got to grow from this as well.
And at the same time, for the T-Birds, in spite of this 4-point loss, this is the kind of loss that can galvanize your team going forward too. And you're not just, when it comes to big games, you're going to respond a little differently. Maybe this is going to change your attitude when you get into tournament basketball. But for the T-Birds, they have a lot of positives to draw from in this tournament. But certainly as they go forward, they're going to remember this loss going, down the road as they take on, the Rebels and they take on the Titans. Yeah. They're going to remember this game.
Well, you should. I mean, and again, this is what these tournaments are for, especially in the beginning of the year. Obviously, you want to win the tournament. You want to have the best result possible. But these are also those things where you have to use them as measuring sticks for your team of how you grow. Because if you're a team that's playing your best ball in this early December, then you got more to be worried about. You want to make sure that, like, hey, when we get back to work next week and we start preparing for whatever's next, that this is kept fresh in the head of we have to get better. Anyone who thinks that they're topping out and I'm giving my best effort, then, hey, you got to get in the gym and you got to give more.
Fans here at the T-Bird Gym giving a nice round of applause for the Volunteers. Grayson Young's the player of the game for the T-Birds.
And our all-star from the Lions, number 34,
Isaiah Nwako named an all-star for the Lions, and strong performance by Nuwako, and the public address announcer nailed it right there. Hans Beefus, the floor general for the Lions, and boy, is he ever a deserving MVP. Can't wait to talk to him.
Well, I think he was definitely what drove this, and you got to give him credit because he was tough, and tough basketball players do well.
And here we go with the silver medal presentations to the Ross Sheppard T-Birds and Coach Dave Young's teams. Of course, as we wrap things up here at the T-Bird Gym, we want to congratulate our women's champions here on Championship Saturday night here on ICU Video. The McGrath Pandas defeated the Foothills Falcons in the women's championship game. Want to congratulate Brad Caron, the head coach of the McGrath Pandas, and his entire team for their victory here earlier tonight. And Shep with another strong performance in their own tournament. And of course, Shep has won this tournament 8 times. They won last year over Aiden Bowman of Saskatoon, but they fall here in the championship game of the Totem Hoop Classic. And T-Birds, of course, always in contention for city and provincial titles, and as we mentioned, they will learn from this, and Dave Youngs will certainly, his team will remember this, and they will move forward.
I think they have to. I mean,
sure.
It's the best part of being a young basketball player is all this sort of stuff is growth and improvement. And the Shep guys have the good fortune of playing for a coach who understands that as well as anybody.
And a classy coach, a classy guy, Dave Youngs. And the runner-up trophy going to, once again, the T-Birds. The Thunderbirds adding to that basketball trophy case that you've helped add some hardware to, for sure. And the T-Birds, of course, maybe a disappointing result, but these T-Birds, nothing to hang their heads about because they had an outstanding tournament.
No,
Yeah.
nothing to hang your head about, but definitely things.
Lots to learn.
Lots to learn from, which is, again, that's the point.
Here we are, the Lions, and here is Hans Beefus. We'll be chatting with him, the tournament MVP, and so deserving. And Ethan Bush, number 6, with that dagger 3 here from the corner. That was such a big play at such a big moment. And Ethan Bush with some under, sometimes it's unnoticed, but Ethan Bush had a lot of responsibilities on defense and worked really hard. Daniel Clement was a force down below, along with Joseph Gopi. And Aiden Pease, you gotta love what he did tonight.
Yeah, big contributor, big contributor.
He certainly had to contend with Max Petrick, and like we said, Aiden Pease was in for a long night, but those two battled all night long, and it was certainly a real thrill to watch for these teams. Here's Isaiah Nuwako. Had a solid performance and an all-star performance here in this game. And here's the victorious coach, Rob Hofstad, and coaching staff here getting their gold medals from the Totem Hoop Classic. And the captains will come forward. Here is Pease, Nuwako, and Hans Beefus as the tournament organizers get ready to present the championship trophy to the Edmonton Christian Lions, the 2018 Totem Hoop Classic men's champions. And what a performance by these Lions tonight in this 74-70 victory. And they will raise that trophy high. And their fans and supporters right here in the T-Bird Gym. And we certainly want to offer our congratulations to the T-Birds and, of course, the men's champions, the Edmonton Christian Lions, on winning this championship. And we are about to be joined by Hans Beefus, the tournament MVP, and he's handing off the trophy and a few other things to our executive producer, Rob Zitline. And we've got Hans Beefus. Here we are over here. We'll get you to stay perfectly still right there, Hans. And Hans, Kevin Donnan, along with Steve Sir here. And Hans, congratulations on winning the MVP.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the Lions. Walk us through what happened in the room at the half. The T-Birds really had the momentum going forward, and going into the half. But what was the difference coming out of the room for you, for the Lions? You guys just took over.
We just came in the room and we were thinking, we're right there. We're not playing to our full potential. We just got to make a few outside shots, make a few layups, and just toughen up on the defensive end. I think once we did that, we were able to pull ahead. And, some of our guys stepped up big. We had some grade 10, Joseph Dopey. He came in, got some big rebounds, hit some big shots. Ethan Bush hit some big threes. Anton Clotis hit some big threes. I couldn't be more proud of the guys. We really stepped it up. We were down tough, but we came back. It was really awesome.
Hans, you had a real good effort from your entire team, but a lot of that came down to you driving it forward and you really putting the pedal down. Talk a little bit about the time you've put in and the work you've done to make sure that when you're in these games, you're as prepared as you can be.
Yeah, I put in a lot of time. I took off club season last year to train with my guy, Blaine LeBranch. He's lifted my game tremendously, and without him, I wouldn't be able to do what I do on the court today. And for other coaches as well, but I owe a lot of my success to Blaine LeBranch right there, so he's been a big part.
And Hans, give us a sense. I mean, it is a preseason tournament, but what does this do for your basketball club, going forward for the rest of the season? What kind of a confidence boost does this give Edmonton Christian?
Oh, this is huge. This is huge. I think people expected us not to be as well last year. This year, sorry. We had a great team last year, and then people were thinking, oh, they lose a few players. But no, we work hard. We go hard in practice, and we really owe it to our coaches, man. They push us every day in practice, and without them, we would not be able to win these games. And I think it's huge for our guys because we only returned 4 players. So I think moving on, it's going to be huge for our guys. And I think people are now going to be watching us, so I think it's awesome. So I'm really impressed with our guys. I'm really proud, and it was just an awesome way to start the season. So,
well, congratulations to you, Hans. Why don't you hand the mic and the headset over to your coach, Rob Hofstad. Get over there with your guys. Congratulations to you, Hans, and congratulations on the MVP.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Congratulations. And Rob Hofstad, there we go, the cheer for Hans. And Steve, you wanted to ask Rob a couple of big questions about just, how big this upset is.
Well, Coach, congratulations for one, but
hey, thank you.
But two, what does this do for your guys with this being a kickoff to the season and getting? I know you guys won provincials last year at the 3A level, so to be able to pick up at to pick up and start the season on such a high note like this, how does this help you guys going forward?
Well, we told the guys we've got to set the tone early and figure out what kind of team we're going to be. And so for us to start with, 4 wins in a row, surprising, but something that we wanted to do to set that tone.
Now take us through it, Rob. Certainly, I was saying to Steve, we may have given you some blackboard material because we said you were the underdogs coming into this game.
Very true.
But what kind of attitude and mindset did this team have coming into this game?
Kevin said that. I didn't say that. So.
Yeah, that's right. I said you were the underdog, but coming in with that mindset, was it what kind of mentality did this team have coming in, and what were they able to do mentally to pull off this upset?
Well, we've got a confident group, right? Coming off some big wins off provincials and other things like that. You get some guys that are full of confidence, right? Led by our leaders, right? Hans and Isaiah, 2 guys that just want to win. And it just kind of spreads, right? They set that tone. They just kind of set that confidence. And we got some great secondary support. Guys that came in, did a big job that we didn't think we would. So
we'll let Steve take the last question with the victorious coach, Rob Hofstad.
Coach, going forward now, how do you guys obviously celebrate the great thing that happened here, but now what do you tell your guys going forward of, hey, this is a great way to start the season, but we still got work to do? What do you keep guys, where do you keep their heads at?
Well, that's exactly it. It's early, right? And December is just about development. And win or lose, we said, we don't care if we win or lose. We need to get better every game, right? And so this is kind of gravy, right? Cherry on the top. So for us to come into Shep and to win the Totem hoop, that's big. All right, but it's early, and we'll take that win and we'll say, okay, guys, guess what? Monday, Leduc, we start fresh again. Let's make it happen.
Absolutely.
Well, it sounds great, Robin. Congratulations to you, your coaching staff, and the entire team. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas and happy holidays. And, boy, get out there and enjoy this one tonight, because it was such a well-earned and well-deserved victory by the Edmonton Christian Lions. So congratulations to you and the entire team, and all the best going forward the rest of the way.
Thanks, guys. Great job. All the best to you, too.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank Steve Sir. Boy, what a thrilling night we've had. We saw some great basketball tonight. Want to thank you for joining us. And, of course, the final score of the Totem Hoop Classic, the men's championship game, 74-70. The Edmonton Christian Lions win over the Ross Sheppard T-Birds. And I'd like to thank our color commentator, Steve Sir, our cameraman, Dave Foley, Liam Johnson, and the rookie, Odell Nelson, Kevin Kyle, our switcher, Rob Zitla, our executive producer and director. I'm Kevin Donnan. Always a pleasure to be with you here from the palatial T-Bird Gym. Thank you for watching the Ross Sheppard High School 26th Annual Totem Hoop Classic from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Once again, the Edmonton Christian Lions win 74-70 and take home the men's title here at the Totem Hoop Classic. I'm Kevin Donnan. On behalf of ICU Video, we want to thank you for joining us throughout the tournament, and good night from the Thunderbird Gym in Edmonton.